It was a late October night in the outskirts of rural Ohio, where the wind howled through skeletal trees and the moon hung low, veiled behind gray clouds. The Henderson family home had been abandoned for nearly a decade before they returned, desperate after a string of misfortunes left them homeless and penniless. They never paid attention to the rumors. After all, who really believes in ghosts and demons in this day and age? But the first night back, as the family settled into the dusty old house, little Sophie Henderson, only 8 years old, began whispering to someone invisible in her room. At first it was harmless, innocent chatter. "Do you want to play with me?" But the words slowly twisted into something darker. She began speaking languages her parents didn't recognize, muttering Latin phrases and words in voices not her own, low guttural tones that sent chills down her father's spine. Objects moved on their own. Chairs tipped over, windows slammed, doors locked without a hand touching them. And then the nightmare started. Not for the child, but for the entire family. Every night, the house seemed alive. Shadows twisted against the walls in impossible shapes, floors creaked under weight no one carried, and mirrors reflected figures that weren't there. Sophie's behavior escalated. She would scream in the middle of the night with a voice that was older than her years, threatening her own parents in words that seemed like curses. The Hendersons tried therapy, tried priests, tried isolation, but nothing worked. No one could explain the swelling, black bruises on Sophie's arms that appeared overnight, the claw-like marks etched into the walls around her bed, or the strange cold that emanated from her room regardless of the furnace. That's when Father Elias Moreno was called. He was old, well-respected in the diocese for handling extreme cases. When he first stepped inside the house, he felt it, the weight of the evil pressing against him like a physical force. He knelt at the door to Sophie's room and whispered a prayer, but the response was immediate. A guttural scream echoed, bouncing off every wall, followed by a low, almost mechanical laughter that was not human. The air became thick, suffocating, and Father Moreno coughed as he forced himself forward. Sophie lay in her bed, body twisted unnaturally, her eyes rolled back so far only the whites were visible. Her lips moved in a language no living person had taught her, chanting prayers that were unholy, demanding, commanding. The priest's heart pounded. He had faced demons before, but the intelligence in this presence was staggering. It was not just a force, it was sentient. Every time he spoke, it mimicked, twisted his words, and used them to mock and attack him. Father Moreno began the exorcism, invoking prayers older than the diocese itself, sprinkling holy water that hissed and smoked when it touched Sophie's skin, forming little clouds of black smoke that filled the room. The house roared, windows shattered. Furniture flew across the room with inhuman force. Sophie's body arched in ways no child could physically manage, her voice rising and splitting into multiple tones at once, some echoing from the ceiling, some from the floor, some from the walls. Her parents huddled together, crying, screaming, covering their ears. The priest felt hands grip his shoulders, unseen but firm, trying to pull him into the darkness that seemed to ooze from the corners of the room. He refused. Chanting louder, he traced symbols in the air with his hands, calling upon saints whose names had not been spoken aloud in centuries. Time became meaningless. Minutes felt like hours, like days. The demon inside Sophie seemed to learn, adapting, anticipating his moves, mocking his prayers, taunting him with visions of the family's worst fears. And then suddenly the entity's voice softened, a whisper, "You cannot save her. You belong to us too." Father Moreno faltered for a fraction of a second, and that was all it took. The room shifted. Shadows poured from the walls like black water, wrapping around him, pushing him down, choking him. But he continued to speak, continued to fight. He felt something ancient brush past him, intelligence without a body, observing, calculating, testing his resolve. Hours passed. The house trembled. Blood appeared on the walls where none had been before. Sophie's body finally convulsed violently one last time, a piercing scream that seemed to split the air in two. And then almost imperceptibly she went still. Her breathing was shallow, but human. The shadows shrank. The air cleared. Father Moreno collapsed, drained beyond anything he had ever experienced, but alive. The Hendersons embraced their daughter, sobbing and thanking God, but the priest knew better. He had seen it, felt it. The demon had retreated, yes, but it had learned, adapted, and would wait. Always wait. The family returned to the house, restored it as best they could, but Father Moreno never set foot there again. He kept in touch, checking on Sophie through letters and calls. Occasionally she would ask questions she should not have known answers to, or smile in ways too knowing for an 8-year-old. And the priest, alone in his rectory late at night, would hear whispers in the wind, voices chanting in ancient tongues, always repeating, "We are patient, we are watching. We will return." In the years that followed, similar reports surfaced in nearby towns. Children exhibiting unnatural strength, knowledge beyond their years, eyes rolling back, voices splitting into multiple tones, objects moving, shadows stretching unnaturally. Each case traced back to properties once inhabited by the same lineage, the old families who had left or abandoned the town decades ago. Father Moreno realized the horrifying truth. The evil was hereditary in its selection, intelligent, patient, and relentless. No single exorcism could destroy it. It only learned, waited, and claimed new hosts when the opportunity arose. And in every quiet moment when the wind shifts and the candlelight flickers, he can still feel it whispering his name, laughing softly in a voice older than the world, reminding him that the battle is far from over and that no one, not even the priest himself, is ever truly free from its gaze.